This administration, in my view, has an absolute disregard for the law.
Joining me now, the former Republican prosecutor from that clip from the ad we were just describing. It's going on Fox News as we speak. Jeffrey Harris, former Deputy Attorney General under Ronald Reagan, former assistant to Rudy Giuliani at the DOJ, and another former federal prosecutor, U.S. Attorney Joyce Vance, also back with us. Good to have you both here.
Nice to be here.
Why are you speaking out, Jeffrey?
Well, I'm speaking out because I care about the rule of law, which I believe is the foundation for our democracy. And, you know, every federal official takes an oath of office that says that you take the office without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. And I think what we're seeing in the administration today is a purpose of evading the law, and this country can't exist if that's what goes on.
Let's take a look at what your old boss, Rudy, is saying about all this.
There was no injury, by the way. We're talking about an inchoate crime. We're talking about something that didn't happen. There was no obstruction. There was no obstruction. They don't point to a single obstruction in their investigation.
Is that true?
You know, it's hard for me to listen to that, and that's not the person that I knew. Of course there was obstruction. The clearest example, and that's the easiest to understand, is what Mueller says, that the president instructed Don McGahn to put a false statement in the file saying that he wasn't ordered to fire Bob Mueller. That is the completed crime of obstruction of justice right there, nothing more. And if Rudy is saying, which he knows not to be true, that if there's no underlying crime that is eventually charged, you can't obstruct justice during the investigation, that's just blatantly false. You know, it happens all the time in white-collar cases where there's an investigation and perhaps the person doesn't eventually get charged with what the investigators are looking into, but along the way he tries to tamper with a witness or conduct to that effect, and that's a completed crime for which he can and does get prosecuted very often. And Rudy knows that.
You say Rudy knows that. He was known to be pretty tough when he was running SDNY. What do you think he would do if he had a subject of a probe who instructed people to, as you just described, to lie to investigators who some of aides were convicted of lying and then, as you say, tried to falsify evidence to cover up tampering with the probe?
Ari, I don't have to tell you what I would think because I know the answer to that question. He would go after him hammer and tong. No question about it.
Joyce?
I think that that's absolutely right. This was not in many ways a close case. And so prosecutors, it doesn't really matter if you're Republican or Democratic. We're looking at the facts and the law here. And when you see someone committing an act that's clearly designed to interfere with law enforcement, finding out the truth of a matter, you're instantly thinking obstruction. And when you see it being done with the corrupt purpose to impede an investigation, prosecutors will sit down and this case will get indicted, including Rudy Giuliani's prosecutors, as we've just heard so forcefully.
Joyce, you know your way around the legal television world now. Is that fair to say?
Fair.
Yeah. Do you think that what we have here running on Fox News and hearing from these colleagues of yours, Justice Department colleagues who did serve in Republican administrations, do you think it'll have an impact?
I think that this is both a smart but a disappointing strategy. It's smart because I suspect it will find its mark. That clip that you played from Justin Amash's town hall meeting was, I thought, very instructive, that there are some folks who have an exclusive diet of conservative news who haven't really been exposed to what's in the Mueller report. It's also disappointing, though, Ari, because we're a country that used to run on a shared set of facts. We could disagree about what they meant, but we agreed about those undeniable facts. And now we've been split into almost tribal nations where you have to hear it from your own people in order to believe it. So I'm delighted that this is happening, but I think we need leadership in this country that helps us return to shared narratives.
Jeffrey, did you know before you came on the beat today that you would leave Joyce in a disappointed state about the way our country processes information?
Well, you know, I'm disappointed as well. You know, I'm reminded of the person who was interviewed who said, you know, I don't want the federal government messing around with my Medicare. There are some people who just, no matter what the facts are unwilling to listen, to learn, and to accept them. And one of the reasons we made this short video was because very often seeing it on television or YouTube or wherever else it may run is better than expecting people to read, say, the Mueller report, which is quite lengthy, quite dense.
Yeah.
And, you know, the movie always gets more attention than the book.
Do you think the president will see what you said?
He may. You know, I really do not believe that there's anything I can say which would change the way President Trump thinks about things or conducts himself. But I'm hoping that there is a segment of the public who is interested in finding out that there are responsible people who respect the rule of law that are disturbed by what's been going on.
Well, you say the movie gets more attention than the book. What movie would this era be if it were a movie?
Well, you know, that's yet to. There will be a movie. There's no question about it. Not yet. But what I'm saying is that a visual presentation
Joyce,
often.
Joyce, do you have a movie?
You know, I think that there are so many tempting choices, but 1984, if there's a movie version of that book, that's what we're living through right now.
And Jeff, I'll give you time. If you think of one, you can come back with it.
All the President's Men.
Well, that's a big one. That's a big one. I guess Rudy would tell you there was an underlying crime in there, and I guess you would tell him that the tapes showed Nixon doing arguably less direct meddling than what the Mueller report already sticks Trump with. I got to fit in a break, so to be continued, but I give the segment 2 thumbs up. That's a Siskel and Ebert reference. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.